Are you always busy? Is your schedule full? Are you always on the go saying yes to things because you're avoiding saying yes to yourself? Being busy and overworking are actually forms of addiction. They're a way of avoiding yourself, avoiding your truth, and avoiding letting love into your life. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the thing. We think that we have to be doing all the time, that we have to be productive, but oftentimes there's an underlying reason for this. There's an unconscious reason. You're being busy all the time because you're afraid. You're afraid of silence and you're afraid of your truth. This was always for me as well. Constantly I needed noise. Constantly I needed to be with people. I hated being on my own. Do you know what I mean? There was times I had to be on my own, but I would avoid it. And this is the thing with the phones as well. We're constantly on our phones, or we're constantly overworking. We're saying yes to the overtime. We're saying yes to everyone else, and we're not saying yes to ourselves. There is an underlying reason for this. There is a deep-seated reason for this. And that reason is you're avoiding something. This is a form of addiction. The same way you take drugs or take alcohol to avoid thinking, to avoid your own truths. Overworking is another way of doing that. If we're busy all the time, we're not using our brain for going internally. Do you know what I mean? And we're literally, we do it to avoid love as well, and vulnerability. This is one of the biggest ones, is we're doing it to avoid ourselves. We're doing it to avoid listening to what we need, listening to our truth. If we're constantly continuing on this hamster wheel over and over and over and over again, doing the same shit every fucking day, we're not actually giving ourselves an opportunity to evolve. We're literally staying stuck in the same cycles over and over again. And we think there's no escape. But we tell ourselves there's no escape. We tell ourselves there's no other way. Because of the actual fact is, you're using it as a coping mechanism to avoid your truth. And this is a fact. It comes from past trauma. For example, any kind of traumatic relationships or inner child trauma can lead us to making these kind of decisions as adults. We avoid everything. And for me, when I was in my 20s and in toxic relationships, my avoidance wasn't being busy all the time because I had nothing to fucking do. I drank. So I drank away everything in my mind. My mind was screaming at me that I needed to get out. My mind was telling me that I needed to go in a different direction. But because I drank alcohol, I didn't fucking hear that. And I completely avoided it. But actually overworking or over-busying yourself is another form of addiction. It's another form of numbing. You're literally avoiding going on your purpose path. And this is another thing. It's not just avoiding love or avoiding vulnerability or avoiding your emotions. You're actually avoiding yourself. You're avoiding listening to yourself and your truth. And this is it. We all have this purpose, and you get this call to action, and it's a niggling call to action, but you say to yourself, I'm too busy to do that, or I don't have the qualifications to do that, and I'm too busy to take on a course. But you're literally saying yes to all the overtime, yes to doing everything with your friends and family, but no to the you know what I mean? How many hours a day do you spend on social media? How many hours do you sit in front of your phone scrolling mindlessly? And you say, I have no time for this, or I have no time for that. How many hours a day do you spend in silence? Listening to your thoughts? Spending time with yourself? Are you constantly numbing yourself through being busy? Do you know what I mean? And this is it. I find this ridiculous anyway. I used to be the person who overworked. I worked 5 days a week, 12-hour shifts a day, and I would work sometimes a half day on Saturday. And I gave all my money to the fucking tax man. I was coming out with less money than I would have if I worked a regular work week. So why the fuck was I overworking when I was getting paid less? It's because I was avoiding something. I was avoiding my truth. I was avoiding what was inside me. And this is it. I used to be the kind of person who would have to have a radio on all the time, or as I said, just busy all the time, constantly doing all the time. I would, I'd turn on the radio the first thing I'd wake up in the morning. The minute I come in from work, I'd turn on the radio. I was avoid. I do not want to listen to my truth. I do not want to listen to my mind. I do not want to listen to my soul. So literally, I'm just going to avoid it. And I obviously didn't know this at the time. But I remember as I started healing, I started to forget to turn on the radio. I'd be in the house and I'd be busy myself doing something. And I'd be like, shit, I forgot to turn on the radio. I better turn on the radio. And then I actually started to realise I enjoy the silence. I enjoy going within. And I stopped avoiding. One of the biggest things that we're avoiding as well when we overbusy ourselves is self-awareness. You know what I mean? We wonder why we're going around in circles and nothing is ever changing. But we're literally avoiding sitting down with ourselves and doing the inner work. We're avoiding letting certain things into our lives. Do you know what I mean? We keep saying yes to things we shouldn't be saying yes to, and keep saying no to things that we actually genuinely want, but we're afraid of. And this is it. When it comes to love, we often say we're too busy for a relationship. I need to get myself established first. I need to get my ducks in a row. There's a fucking movie, I can't remember the name of it now. A Lot Like Love, I think it is. And it literally, like, they spend fucking nearly a decade trying to get their ducks in a row. But you can't get your ducks in a row if you're out of alignment with your life. Do you know what I mean? You try and do your purpose path. No, you try and do this path that's not your purpose path. And you end up literally fucking shit up. So like in the movie, it's like we're gonna go our separate ways, get our shit together, and then come back together. They wasted their fucking lives trying to do things that were not for them and literally sacrificed their relationship. You know, they eventually got together in the end, but literally, like, you know, and you know, what I love about love as well, or your path of alignment, is if you let love in, if you let, like, you know, the real things into your life, the things aligned to your soul, then everything works out. Do you know what I mean? You keep wondering why you're struggling all the time. You keep wondering why you're going around in circles all the time. You keep wondering why you're fucking hitting obstacle after obstacle. It's because you're avoiding the true path. You're busying yourself so much with things out of alignment with your soul that everything seems like a fuck up. Everything seems like it's going to shit. But once you act, and you think that you need to get your shit together in order to let love or purpose into your life. But the only way you can get your shit together is if you live in alignment. So you're fucking avoiding your aligned path. You're avoiding making life easier. You're making life harder for yourself because you're saying no to the things you should be saying yes to. You know what I mean? So ask yourself these questions. If you're overly busy all the time, if you have no time for yourself, what are you avoiding? What are you hiding from? You're literally hiding yourself behind a cage. This is a mental prison that you're hiding yourself in because you're literally afraid to face your truth. And you know, if you were in relationships before where you lacked control, so you were in a manipulative, narcissistic relationship, this can lead you to fearing letting people in. Like, you know, for me, it was hyper independence. Do you know what I mean? That was my way of keeping a wall up. To friends and love. I was literally like, that was my avoidance. That was my block, or effectively it was my addiction. It was my addiction to my independence. And like, don't get me wrong, like when we're after being in controlling relationships, or we suffered and, you know, had severe codependency issues, it can be very difficult for us to open up again. But we literally make excuses. And this is it. We make excuses. It's the same for anything. I'm too busy for this. I have no time for this. As I said, like the simple thing of you wanting to change career or follow your purpose path. I don't have qualifications. I don't have time to do a course. But yet you're on your phone for 3 hours a fucking day scrolling aimlessly. Literally, mindlessly, wondering what the fuck. Do you know what I'm saying? And you say you don't have time. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. The amount of time you waste watching mindless television, watching mindlessly on your phone, doom scrolling, and you don't have time to better yourself, you don't have time to evolve, and you don't have time to face your emotions. This is avoidance and this is addiction. You know what I mean? Anything you do to avoid yourself is an addiction. Anything you do to avoid evolving, and that's what it is, it's evolving. You're in this mentality of, if I stay where I am, if I stay in this bubble, no one can hurt me again. No one can control me again. And I don't have to do it. You know, I don't have to change. Because people are like, oh, you know, I'm not going to be forced into fucking changing. We're here to change. We're here to evolve. We're here to transform. So literally you're staying stuck on repeat. You know what I mean? And you're refusing to open up to the world of potential that's in front of you. That's effectively what's going on. You know what I mean? You're not, you know, like, we've been hurt before. We've been through trauma before. And we're afraid of that happening again. But the biggest thing that we should regret is not living. And when you're constantly doing all the time, you're not actually being. And you cannot appreciate the present moment if you're constantly, avoiding it effectively. Because this is what you're doing. Like, we only have right now. The past is gone and cannot repeat itself. The future is not fucking promised. But yet you're wasting your time worrying about something out of alignment in your soul. Overworking, overbid. And this is another thing with overworking. Not only are you giving all your money to the fucking tax man, you're depleting your energy. When you live out of alignment on an energetic level, you are depleting your mental and physical well-being. If you run yourself, if you overwork to to eventually burn out, you're physically and mentally fucking yourself up. So not only are you living out of alignment and everything is a shitstorm, your health and well-being is going to be a fucking shitstorm as well. The reason people have anxiety and depression is because they're living out of alignment with their soul. The reason people overbusy themselves is because they're anxious and depressed and they're not living in alignment with their soul. The only way to actually start to fucking live proper, live and feel good is to face what's within. You can't let the past prevent you from living your life now. And that's effectively what the past is doing. Like, what really bugs me about this is you've been in a controlling, manipulative relationship and now you think you've escaped that. You think you're in your independence and you're safe and no one can control you again. But effectively, your ex is still controlling you because their behavior is preventing you from moving forward. And that's effectively it. You're literally still controlled by the dynamics of your past relationship because you're refusing to face your truth. You're avoiding the healing and inner work. And you're saying to yourself, I'll stay here in my little fucking bubble. I won't let anyone into my fucking life and I'm grand. I'm in control. I'm the boss. You're not the fucking boss. Your fucking ex is. Your ex or your childhood, whatever trauma you went through is literally controlling your life right now. You're not in control because you're actually being controlled by your job or by other people. You're already, you're afraid that you're going to be codependent, but in actual fact, you are codependent. You're being, as I said, you're being controlled by everything around you. You're being controlled by your addiction to being overbusy. You're being controlled by your avoidance and your lack of self-awareness. So it's only in facing your truth, it's only in coming back to who you are, that you can genuinely just know who you are. You know what I mean? Like I've done this. My walls have been right up there and they've been so stuck. My heart was almost turned into fucking stone because my avoidance was hyper independence. I was hiding behind walls. I wasn't letting people in. And it was fucking killing me. We think we're strong because we're not vulnerable. Vulnerability is a fucking superpower. Opening your heart is a superpower. The only way you can control your life is by living in alignment with it. Not by living as a result of your past. Because that's what overbusying and overworking is. You're avoiding the future because of what your past did to you. So, if you really want to escape this control, and this is what it is, it's still control. You are being controlled by a system. You're being controlled by, your fear. And that's another thing. You're being controlled by your fear. Your fear of opening up, your fear of being vulnerable, your fear of being, this is why people self-sabotage things. Why people self-sabotage love, why people self-sabotage their divine purpose, is because they're literally kind of going, no, I can't do this, I'm only going to get hurt, I'm not going to take a risk, I'm going to stay in my little bubble, go on the fucking hamster wheel and walk off that fucking cliff with all the other fucking sheep. Because that's effectively what you're going to do. If you continue to avoid your truth, you're literally going to die alone and miserable. I'm sorry, but this was effectively what was going to happen to me. I was so fucking closed off. I was so fucking isolated. I could feel my heart turn into stone. And I was like, it's easier for me not to open up. It's easier for me not to let people in. It's easier for me because I won't get hurt. But actually, to be honest with you, I was hurting myself more. It was actually becoming more painful for me not to have people in my life. It was breaking me. You know what I mean? And I've said this before. You cannot give love if you don't receive it. because effectively I was giving everything, but I wasn't allowing myself to receive. And, you know, my purpose in life is to love. Well, all our purpose in life is to love and be loved. But my purpose in life is to give to others and to help others. But when my heart was literally emptying, I couldn't give anymore. And that fucking frightened me. Do you know what I mean? That really frightened me. And, you know, how are we supposed to do good in this world if we don't let ourselves love and be loved? And that's a fact. So ask yourself, what cage are you hiding behind? If you're too busy all the time to let good things into your life, then ask yourself, what are you avoiding? Where are you addicted to hiding from your truth? Where are you addicted to running from your truth? Because this is it. This is another form of addiction. And as I said, you're still letting your past control you if you're hiding behind those walls, if you're hiding behind that cage. So it's time to open up and let love in. Let love in all forms. Let abundance into your life. Because the only way you can truly heal yourself and heal your heart is by opening it and by being vulnerable. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. And there's nothing more than to help on your path. Oh, also I have another channel called Aligning with Angie, where I share a guided meditation every week. The info for that is in the description box.